We'll start with dielectric. What are dielectric substances? Dielectric substances. So dielectric substances are nothing but they are insulators. Dielectric substances are insulators. However, unlike insulator, dielectric substances allow electric fields to pass through. Allow electric field to pass through them. Now, dielectric substances behave differently when placed in an electric field. When placed in an electric field, we will see to this. We will understand this line properly. Based on the charge center separation in a dielectric molecule, a dielectric substance can be classified as polar, classified as number 1 polar and number 2 non-polar dielectric substance. Polar and non-polar. Okay, so what are dielectric substances? What can you understand from them? So what is a dielectric substance? In simple, insulators are a bad conductor of electricity. So now some examples. So similarly, dielectric is also a bad conductor of electricity. However, the difference between insulator and dielectric substance is that electric field can pass through dielectric substances, and you will see how it passes very soon. Let's give you some example of dielectric substances. Example would be paper. Wood is an insulator. Wood is not a dielectric substance. Paper is an insulator. Then there is water. I'll give you this. Let me not give you water now. I'll give you the dielectric constants very soon. Then plastic. Plastic is a very good insulator. Then oil. They are all, etc. They are all dielectric substances. Okay. Let us see polar and non-polar dielectric substance. Let us understand first what is non-polar dielectric. Non-polar dielectric substance. So as the name suggests, in a non-polar dielectric substance, in a non-polar dielectric substance, the charge center of a dielectric molecule, charge centers of dielectric molecules do not molecule coincide. That is, you see, we'll have a positive charge which is surrounded by the cloud of negative charge. So you can see the negative charge center and the positive charge center, they are at the same place. Okay, coincide. All diatomic molecules are examples of non-polar. Polar means poles. You have a separate poles. Examples are non-polar dielectric substance. Non-polar dielectric substances. Now what happened? These substances do not have any permanent dipole moment. As their charge center coincide. However, when a non-polar dielectric slab is placed in an external electric field, the charge center separates as shown. So you'll see something like this. If I have this slab here, now this is a dielectric slab. I'll show you another diagram here. You see, now what will happen, if this is the direction of electric field, this is E0. Why E0? I am considering this to be at vacuum or its free space. So then what will happen, the positive charge will move with the direction of electric field or move away from the direction of electric field. So negative will go with, because this side somewhere here must be positive is placed, that's why the electric field is there. Plus will go with the direction of electric field, and this one will go, this is the negative charge. These get separated, and as they get separated, now you see there is a dipole moment, right? There is a dipole moment now from negative to positive. This is P. Now there is a dipole moment from negative side to from left side to the right side. Good. So now, if I place, the charge center separates as shown. So you can see now all the dipoles, all the molecules is going to get, I'm just showing you by the arrow now. So this is plus, this is minus, this is plus, this is minus, plus, minus, and so on. So like this, and this is the direction of electric field. Consequently, you will see what will happen now is that, so let's see what happened as a result. Do you see the right side has become all positive and the left side has become what? Negative. So a negative charge density appears on the left side and a positive charge density appears on the right side. Okay, one more diagram we can draw is this one. So you will see now, consequently what is happening now, we have a net dipole. So I am giving you these vectors. Remember, dipole is a dipole moment is a vector quantity. So if I have plus and if I have a minus, two charges are separate, and dipole moment is always directed from negative to the positive. So this is P1. Similarly, there is another one. You notice one thing, all the dipole moments are now aligned with the direction of electric field. Okay, so this side is now plus sigma, this side is now minus sigma. So consequently, what happened? As shown, consequently all the dipoles moment gets aligned with the direction of applied electric field. Giving rise to a net dipole moment. Net dipole moment P net. Okay, now net dipole moment P net. In this way, a charge center, a surface charge density plus minus a surface charge density appears on the two faces of the slab. Okay, now we'll talk about more about this. So you can see now, if you look closely, I will talk about this again later. Now you can see that this side is plus, this side is minus. Don't you think there will be also an electric field this side? Because whenever there is a plus minus, an electric field has to come in between. So there will also an electric field will come here. This electric field we'll term it as induced electric field. We'll see to that after a while. Okay, and consequently the net electric field also we will see what is that. So then this is the case, this is the story of how a non-polar dielectric slab behaves when it is placed in an external electric field. So what is a non-polar dielectric slab? So what is a non-polar dielectric substance? In non-polar dielectric substance, the charge centers of the dielectric molecule do not coincide. All diatomic molecules are examples of oxygen, nitrogen. These are examples of non-polar dielectric substance. These substances do not have any permanent dipole moment. So their charge centers are called. Permanent dipole moment means already they do not have any dipole moment. Okay, you will see in case of polar there is a permanent dipole moment. There is some dipole moment. However, when a non-polar dielectric substance places in electric field, the charge center separates as shown. Consequently, all the dipole moments get aligned with the direction of the applied E, giving rise to a net dipole moment P net. In this way, a surface charge density appears on the two faces of the slab, which gives rise to, I'll write one more sentence here, produces an induced electric field, I'll write here, an induced electric field EI in a direction opposite to E0. Okay, so that E net, we denote E net like this. I'm not going to write E net every time, I'm going to just write E0 minus EI. So this is the electric field now So this is the electric field that is passing through here, net electric field. I hope you understand now how dielectric slab is different from an insulator. Let us come to polar dielectric substance. Polar dielectric substances, what are they? As the name suggests, in this type of dielectric substances, what happens, you see, in this type of dielectric substances, as the name suggests, the charge centers of a dielectric molecule do not coincide. They have a permanent dipole moment. But these dipole moments are randomly oriented in all possible direction. So I'll draw the diagram. Okay, so I'm just drawing that now. You can see already they are separated, but direction is different. No proper orientation. And now when they placed in electric field, same story now. When placed in an electric field, all of them is going to get aligned in the same direction. By dipoles, you can understand with two charge centers, that's it. Just like a dipole. All of them get aligned in the same direction. And this is the direction of the applied electric field. When placed in an external electric field, all the randomly oriented dipole moments gets aligned in the direction of E. Resulting to a net dipole moment. Consequently, surface charge density appears plus minus sigma appears on the two faces of the slab, and also an induced electric field also an induced electric field now exists within the slab. Interesting, right? The net electric field becomes now, again same story, E0 minus EI. Example of non-polar dielectric substances. Examples of some non-polar dielectric substance, you can take this as HCl, KCl, K being the positively charged, this is positive charge center of potassium, and this is of C, negative charge center of Cl. So they are what? So if you let's say, I'll give you an example to you. If you want to make a parallel plate capacitor with dielectric substance in between the plate at home, how will you do? You know these days aluminum foils are very easy to found. You can get an aluminum foil, make it in the form of a rectangle of any dimension of your choice. This is X, this is Y. Okay, you make two sheets like this. This is another sheet. Now the gap between these two sheets, what you can do, you can either fill it with paper, because paper is a dielectric substance, or you can fill it with HCl or KCl, right? You can fill it with KCl, HCl. Okay, then CH3Cl. All these are example. You see how I am saying this is the positive charge center, this is negative charge center. So these are all examples of polar dielectric substances. Okay, so you can easily pull this and wrap them. Once you wrap them, and these two sides of the plates, the two plates, this is one plate, this is the another plate, join it to some battery. But yeah, you need a very high voltage also. Okay, then that's become your capacitor, parallel plate capacitor. So before I proceed, so we have got introduced to what are polar and non-polar dielectric substances. That's good. Let us come to now so net electric field, E net. What is the electric field? Electric field between the plates of the parallel plate, between the plates of a parallel plate capacitor, plates of the parallel plate capacitor with dielectric substance, with dielectric slab between the plates, with dielectric slab, with dielectric slab. So let's see how does it behave. So let's say I have here, this is our plate, capacitor plate, this is the another plate, now in between the plate we insert a dielectric slab, maybe plastic, I am showing you the means of the dotted lines. So this is all, this is the dielectric slab, which is completely filled, although I am showing you little gap is there for the top edges, but imagine this is completely filling it. This is completely filling it. Okay, so this is our slab. Now this one is connected to negative, that side is connected to some positive, means they are connected to positive and negative of the battery. So what will happen now? This side will become plus, this side will become negative, right? So an electric field now exists between the plates. As we have discussed, there will be an electric field between the plates, because this side being plus, this side being minus. Now if I draw another diagram here like this way, the same diagram if I draw it, this is the dielectric slab that has been placed in between. So there is an electric field, or let me do like this way. So if I place the dielectric slab here, excuse the gap now. If I place the dielectric slab and the electric field between the plate is this one, E0. So this is E0. This is also E0. Now what will happen, as I have discussed? This side is already minus Q, minus sigma is there. This side already plus sigma is there. But due to the dipoles getting aligned like this, so this is the dipole moments getting aligned like this. So what will happen now? This side will be now plus sigma, this side will be now minus sigma, and consequently another electric field will come into play. This electric field is from this side to this side. We call this EI, induced electric field. So that the net electric field into the between the plates will be now E net, which we denote by E, is denoted as E0 minus EI. Okay, and what is E0? E0 is what? E0 is the electric field in free space, and E naught is the net electric field between the plates. Okay, net electric field between the plates with dielectric slab. Okay, now if I divide this, E naught by E, look, E naught by E, this ratio is called relative permeability, also known as dielectric constant. Okay, so when I compare this, how much is this E? Because now note one thing here. So this is how it is going to behave. That whenever, in short, I am going to say that whenever you place a dielectric slab in between the plates, the electric field will get reduced. You can see the electric field is getting reduced. It is getting reduced by how much amount? By EI amount. And EI would be, we'll see how EI depends. We'll come to that very soon now. So now if I compare this, then it gives me a constant. So dielectric constant. So next topic is our dielectric constant. Dielectric constant. So dielectric constant kappa is nothing but it is the ratio of electric field in free space to the net electric field with net electric field between the plates with dielectric substance. How can you say that kappa is E naught by E and not? Why kappa is this is a Greek letter, by the way, we denote it by Greek letter kappa. Why it is not E by E naught? You should know here one thing. This is wrong. Why? If you do this, This means that the electric field in any medium can be greater than the electric field in free space, which is not possible. No medium, no medium can have, there is no medium in which the speed of light is greater than c. So this ratio, if you write like this, E by E naught, it will be completely wrong. Be careful. So sometime in your exam you may have defined K E by E naught and you see the whole derivation has been cut, and you may ask why did you cut it, because you can understand what major mistake you have done. Be careful with that. So, and also the dielectric constant has no, dielectric constant kappa has no unit, because it's dimensionless, right? So this is what kappa is. Now we are going to a little more important topics, which we'll see now. Little bit of tricky topics. So first thing is that, so we have seen about what are dielectric constant. Now what happens actually is that when you are placing the dielectric slab in between the plates, some phenomenon called polarization is taking place. So polarization. What is polarization? Polarization is nothing but the number of dipoles formed per unit volume. So this is this phenomenon, you see one side. So this phenomenon of developing opposite charge centers, if I place a dielectric slab in between the plates, this is the electric field E0. The phenomenon of developing opposite surface charge densities that is getting polarized when a dielectric slab is placed in an external electric field is called polarization. So polarization is a vector quantity. We will prove it to you very soon. So what is a polarization? Mathematically I can define polarization as, polarization is P is number of dipoles per unit volume. Okay, so we know what dipoles. So if this is the dielectric slab, the length is, let's say L, the length is L, okay. So then can I write, let's say plus Q and minus Q are the charges, this is minus Q and this is plus Q are the charges. That means I can write Q into L, volume would be what? Area into L. What is L? So this is the volume or not. So if you look at here, if we come to this picture, this surface area, this is the surface area. The surface area of the slab will be what? This cross-sectional surface area is A. I will show you in terms of, it's a rectangle, right? So as it's a rectangle, the cross-sectional surface area will be which one? This is area A. So this area into this length gives me the complete volume. So you can see here, I write here P is equals to sigma, which is what? And sigma I. This is the induced charge density. This is the polarization or polarization vector So this is polarization. Understand? So this is the polarization. Before I proceed to next topic, did you understand what is polarization now? So polarization is nothing but what? So polarization is nothing but what? The number of dipoles forming per unit volume. Greater, you can see, greater the electric strength, more will be the polarization. Now I'll come to that. Polarization also depends on what? Now, also next topic. Now let's come to another important topic. Now if you notice one thing, so P equals to sigma, but P depends on what? So this is I know. P varies. P, that is polarization vector, is also directly proportional to, it is proportional to, if you see, it is proportional to net electric field. Greater the net electric field, greater will be the polarization. Greater the resultant electric field in the slab, more will be polarization, more the charges will be developed. Okay. So now if I remove this, if you note properly, this is sigma, this is E, this is not dimensionally correct. So what do we do? We write here epsilon naught into E. Now it is dimensionally correct. Okay. So then P, if I remove this, I get here a constant. This constant is called electric susceptibility, where Greek letter chi or chi, whatever, like Greek letter chi, this is, we denote it like this, chi, is called electric susceptibility. Is called electric susceptibility. Now what is it? We'll see that. So how do you define Greek susceptibility? So you can write chi will be, chi will be P by sigma naught epsilon naught E. So this is how we defined electric susceptibility. This is electric susceptibility. So how do I am getting it? So polarization, I am writing here, polarization vector, polarization, you can just write polarization is directly proportional to, net E, net electric field. So here we get it. Done. So let us, so this is our chi. What do you think is unit will be? See, just now I taught you P is what? Surface charge density, sigma. And you know Gauss law says what? E equals to sigma by epsilon naught. Right? So this E, what can I write? So we can write this as sigma I by epsilon naught into sigma, no, not sigma I, sigma by epsilon naught. Anyway, both of them get cancelled, both of them being surface charge densities, what is it? Dimensionless. No unit. Chi has no unit. Clear? So that's good. So we have found out this. Chi equals to P by epsilon naught E. But what is the significance of P? What is the significance of chi? Why do we bring this constant? If you look closely, so chi is, to understand what is chi, we need to establish a relation. We'll find out a relation between chi and, although we can continue from here only, relation between chi and relative permeability. Relative permittivity, if you remember, we had something like this, epsilon r, okay, or dielectric constant, that is, or k, not you all didn't understand this as, or kappa. Let's see. So as we know, E equal to E naught minus EI, right? And how can I write EI? This is what we know. EI is nothing but sigma by epsilon naught. We can write this as E naught minus sigma I by epsilon naught. Now E naught, sigma I will be written as what? You can see from this equation I can write sigma I is nothing but polarization vector P. So I can write this as P by epsilon naught. But what is P? P would be epsilon naught minus, so I can write this as epsilon naught E naught by E naught into chi by epsilon naught. Cancel, cancel. This is E. Can I take E naught common out from here? And I get here 1 minus chi. Then E by E naught is equal to 1 minus 1 by chi. But E by E naught is what? E naught by E is your dielectric constant. Correct? So where did I do the mistake? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I written it wrong. Very sorry. This is E, not E naught. Sorry. Yeah. So this is epsilon naught. Be careful. Epsilon naught E into chi. Cancel. So I get here E naught is equal to E plus E into chi. If I take E common out, I get here 1 plus chi or chi. Then I get here E naught by E, which is 1 plus susceptibility. So if you look here, I get this nothing but dielectric constant K, 1 plus chi. So what do you notice here? Or I can write this as epsilon r equals to 1 plus chi. Now look closely. What do I get here? So electric susceptibility is saying what? So in fact we can write like this. We can understand. So relative permeability. So relative permeability can be dielectric constant. Now let us come to dielectric constant. So dielectric constant. So for air, what do you think it would be? Chi will be what? For free space, sigma. This is sigma I by epsilon naught into E, right? So for air, you can see that this factor chi or chi determines that how much, what is it, it judges that the effect of the net electric field on the dielectric constant. How is the electric field is what you call is affecting the dielectric constant. Understand? You can see the graph is K plus 1 plus chi. The graph of them is a straight line. If you see intercept of plus 1, this is a plus 1 intercept. So if I draw the line, if I draw the graph, if I try to plot, this is K, this is chi, y. This is, the graph will be something like this. This intercept is 1 plus chi, and then it is a straight line. This is a straight line. The slope, so this is the curve will be like that. Okay. So now this is a very important relation between epsilon naught and chi. If this electric field is very strong, then what will happen? The net electric field will be less. E will be even less. So E is less means chi is high. Chi is high means dielectric constant will be, it will get, chi high means, let's say it is, if its reference value is, let's say 4. Now you have increased E naught, so E decreases, chi increases, now it becomes 5, so it becomes less than 1, 1 minus 5, 1 plus 5, it becomes increases. That means, sorry, I'm not decreasing. So chi increases. Sorry, very sorry. Something else was going in my mind. So it increases. So that means susceptibility is judging how dielectric constant will vary with the net electric field. How the dielectric constant will vary. So this is the physical significance of chi. Okay. So it can be asked. So little bit alteration on this equation I can write. We can write like this: 1 minus k, or we can write this as like this also, to know how these two varies. Okay. Constant table. Only few things we'll remember. Not much, just to understand little bit more the concept. So dielectric constant for air it is 1. Dielectric constant of plastic is 2. Plastic is 2.5, or like that, 2.5 you can take. Then paper is 3. This is kappa. Paper is 3. Then mica 6. These are important ones I am giving. Now the most interesting one is, or you can take also one more, silicon. Silicon is 12, just double it. And germanium, I think, if I am not mistaken, it is 12 or 13, like that. It is how much was it? No, germanium is 15 or 16. 16, let's say. Germanium is 16, approximately. They can vary here and there. Now water will be, water is at, I hope you know what is NTP, 20 degrees centigrade. It is 80.80, and at 25 degrees centigrade it is 78. So water is also dielectric. Now the relation which I gave you just now, kappa equals to 1 plus chi. So what can you conclude from here? What can you say from here? What do you think will be chi? If I place the chi value here, tell me, can you calculate what will be chi, respective chi for air? How much is it? For air, how much? 0. Am I right? So chi is minus 1. So 2.5 minus 1, how much is it? 1.5. For plastic it is how much? 1.5. Look what is happening. Then paper, 3 minus 1, 2. Okay. 6 minus 1, 6 minus 1, 5, 11, right? 15, 79, then this is 76, 77. So you can see this point, this can come as a objective type question. If dielectric constant of air is 1, what is the electric susceptibility? What is electric susceptibility? Chi is called electric susceptibility. So susceptibility for air, which is how much? 0. Whenever you have doubt, come back to this equation. This will help you, and you refer this. I know you will have issues. Always come back to this. E increases, this decreases. This decreases, this decreases, this increases, this decreases. This decreases, so K will happen to K. Think about it. Okay? or this decreases, this increases. So you think like that. Okay, this increases means kappa will increase, dielectric constant will increase, and if dielectric constant increases, we know C equals to K C naught. Wow, K times the capacitance. The capacitance of the capacitor is increasing. The ability to store more charge also increases. Okay, now let us do the last topic for today. Okay, capacitance of a capacitor with dielectric slab. With dielectric slab between the plates. So we consider a parallel plate capacitor of plate area A, plate separation D, okay, and a dielectric substance of dielectric constant kappa between the plates as shown. So okay, so this is our dielectric slab. I have joined. The proper diagram will be this one. The proper diagram will be this one, that we have a parallel plate capacitor. Okay, this is the dielectric slab between the plates. This is dielectric slab between the plates, whose K. It is connected to battery key. Okay, I need to say plate separation D and dielectric substance of dielectric constant K and thickness T. Thickness T between the plates of the capacitor. So this is T, this is T, this is D. So this one, as usual, you know, plus sigma, minus sigma. This is the electric field between the plates. This is E0. However, we have another electric field. So now we can write the voltage across the plate. V will be equal to, now look closely, epsilon naught, this electric field, it's not epsilon, electric field E naught. E naught is only in the gap, so it should be equal to D minus T plus the induced electric field plus the electric field which is inside it. So what is that? What is the electric field inside it? So there is a net electric field, no, inside. So this one should be E into T, but E can be written as what? E can be written as D minus T plus, what was it? E naught by E is equal to K. So that means E must be written as E naught by K. E naught by K into T. So I can take this one common out from here. I get here D minus T plus T by K. This is V, right? Then we can, we know also E naught is equal to know sigma by epsilon naught, because that is the electric field. This thing I have already taught you earlier. So D minus T plus T by K. Then V equals to this much, right? or sigma is q by a epsilon naught by T by K. Now capacitance. Now capacitance C equals to Q equals to CV we know, and C equals to Q by V. Therefore, if I using this equation using 1, it would be what? V by Q is equal to 1 by A epsilon naught D minus T plus T by K. Taking reciprocal, I can write this as Q by V is equal to epsilon naught A by root over D minus T plus T by K, or we can write this as C. Okay. Now cases. So this is our capacitance of the capacitor with dielectric constant between the plates. Okay, now last point. Now if the entire gap is filled, if the entire gap is filled with dielectric substance, then T is equals to D. Therefore C equals to epsilon naught A D minus T. This is 0. It would be D by K, or we can write this as K epsilon naught A by D, which is nothing but K C naught. I hope I have explained you what is C naught. Second case, when case 2, when different dielectric substance of different thickness is inserted between the plates. So how it should be? So something like this. I have here one K1, T1, this is K2, T2, and so on. This is Tn, Kn. Then the above equation becomes something like this. So C epsilon naught A by D minus T1 plus T2 plus Tn plus T1 by K1 plus T2 by K2 plus Tn by K, and that's it. This is the capacitance of the capacitor. That concludes the theory of this chapter.